We have more ominous breaking news from an increasingly insecure Donald Trump at both the White House and on Truth Social. Not only is he mocking the Iranian supreme leader, he's publicly threatening to violate his own ceasefire with Iran with additional bombing strikes on Iran. And then we have to show you some other clips from an unhinged press conference he did today. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, we got a lot of clips to play. We're going to start with this one, too, in which Donald Trump again opens up the possibility of making more unilateral bombing strikes on Iran. And then we're going to look at an unhinged Truth Social post he made.
If the intelligence reports conclude that Iran can enrich uranium to a level that concerns you, would you consider bombing the country again?
Without question, absolutely.
And have you had any...
So he says, yeah, listen, if Iran is capable of enriching uranium to a level that Trump's uncomfortable with, he will bomb them again. Pretty ominous enough, but then he goes on this unhinged rant on Truth Social. Trump says, why would the so-called supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei of the war-torn country of Iran say so blatantly and foolishly that he won the war with Israel when he knows his statement is a lie? It is not so. As a man of great faith, he is not supposed to lie. His country was decimated. His 3 evil nuclear sites were obliterated, and I knew exactly where he was sheltered and would not let Israel or the United States Armed Forces, by far the greatest and most powerful in the world, terminate his life. I saved him from a very ugly and ignominious death, and he does not have to say, thank you, President Trump. In fact, in the final act of the war, I demanded that Israel bring back a very large group of planes, which were headed directly to Tehran, looking for a big day, perhaps the final knockout. Tremendous damage would have ensued, and many Iranians would have been killed. It was going to be some of the biggest attacks of the war by far. It was going to be the biggest attack of the war by far. During the last few days, I was working on the possible removal of sanctions and other things, which would have been given much better chance which would have given a much better chance to Iran at a full, fast, and complete recovery. The sanctions are biting, but no, instead I get hit with a statement of anger, hatred, and disgust, and immediately dropped all work on sanction relief. And more. Iran has to get back into the world order flow, or things will only get worse for them. They are always so angry, hostile, and unhappy, and look at what it's gotten them. A burned-out, blown-up country with no future, a decimated military, a horrible economy, and death all around them. They have no hope, and it will only get worse. I wish the leadership of Iran would realize that you often get more with honey than you do with vinegar. Peace. So again, another unhinged rant because the Ayatollah tried to do this bullshit face-saving thing where he's like, yeah, we were slapping Israel around. We could have slapped the United States around too, and they recognized who they were dealing with and they backed off. I mean, it's just pure bullshit coming from the Ayatollah, no doubt about it. So he, of course, is a profoundly insecure, despot. So is Donald Trump, right? And so you have these two insecure personalities. Of course, Trump is vastly more powerful, whether people like that or not. And so this is what you get. Even the New York Post, the right-wing New York Post, is reporting Trump needles Iran's Ayatollah and threatens more strikes. Quote, tell the truth, you got beat to hell. Trump said Friday that Iran's Ayatollah Khamenei needed to be truthful about the fact that he, quote, got beat to hell by the U.S. and Israel, and warned that America would bomb Iran again if it continues to enrich uranium. So, Donald Trump is once again publicly threatening military strikes on Iran. Very ominous, especially because we were told he's a man of peace. He would be violating his own ceasefire, but there you have it. A ceasefire, by the way, that both Israel and Iran violated before, during, and after the deadline. But I digress. There are also other unhinged clips from this conversation, rather from this de facto press conference that we have to talk about. We played some clips in a previous video. This one's a major one. Right now, there's a crypto bill, the Genius Act, that is trying to make it through the Senate. And God, I actually hope it fails. One of the reasons I hope it fails is because right now, though it prevents members of Congress from, profiting off their own or launching their own stable coin or meme coin, which is good, it doesn't prevent the president from doing so, which is a real big fucking problem because Donald Trump is actually launching a meme coin and a stable coin and financially benefiting it. So no bill which permits Trump or any president to do that should ever pass Congress. And any Democrat who votes in favor of it is insane, in my opinion, and deserves to be criticized relentlessly. But a reporter asked Trump, "Hey, listen, if this is going to help, this crypto regulation, this crypto bill get passed, which will help the crypto industry. They support the Genius Act. Maybe what you could do as an olive branch is to distance yourself from your own crypto coin." Trump is like, how about no? How about I continue to profit off my bullshit meme and stable coin and continue to enrich myself using the presidency and the most corrupt demonstration of the presidency in American history. And they passed the legislation anyway. Totally uninterested.
Thank you, Mr. President. On a related subject, many Democrats have said that they are not going to support crypto bills in Congress only because of you and your family's personal crypto ventures. And these votes are in some cases needed to pass. Are you open to the idea of pulling away from your personal crypto ventures just for the next few years if that helps get these crypto bills passed in the next few months?
Well, it's a very funny thing, crypto. So I became a fan of crypto, and to me it's an industry. I view it as an industry, and I'm president. And if we didn't have it, China would, or somebody else would, but most likely China. China would love to. And we've dominated that industry. It's a big industry, by the way. In fact, when the stock market went down recently, crypto and Bitcoin and all of that went down much less than anybody else as a group. And we've created a very powerful industry, and that's much more important than anything that we invest in. We invest in it, but really that was an industry that wasn't doing particularly well. I got involved with it a couple of years ago, and before the second term. I got involved before I decided to run. I only decided to run because I saw what was happening, and Biden was incompetent, and the administration was crooked and incompetent. And I was in Bitcoin then, not knowing if I was going to do it a third time. So it's become amazing. I mean, it's the jobs that it produces. And I notice more and more you pay in Bitcoin. I mean, people are saying it takes a lot of pressure off the dollar. And it's a great thing for our country. So I don't care about investing. I have I have kids, and they invest in different things. They do believe in it. But I'm president, and what I did do there is build an industry that's very important. And, if we didn't have it, China would. Okay.
Just totally cut it off and didn't even answer the question. We know this from the financial disclosures, he is personally benefiting, not just the family, but he himself, his direct bank accounts are benefiting from his stable coin with World Liberty Financial and the bullshit meme coin that he launched just days before his inauguration. He'd already won the election. It was days before he was inaugurated, so he is deliberately obfuscating the timeline and refusing to commit to distancing himself from it and basically no longer engaging in this sort of corruption. This is the problem with Donald Trump, right? Not just the shamelessness, not just the corruption, but the combination of the two. I just want you to imagine if it were Barack Obama or Joe Biden or Bill or Hillary Clinton or Kamala Harris standing on that stage being asked the same question under the same circumstances and giving the same answer. Left-wing media, right-wing media, center, it doesn't matter. There would be a widespread universal backlash. There would be backlash from within the Democratic Party. This isn't remotely comparable, but when President Biden issued his controversial pardons of Hunter Biden and members of his family, sitting Democrats publicly condemned it. Not just people on social media, actual senators and Congress people publicly condemned what the president did. And this is infinitely more corrupt. And you don't hear a fucking peep from Republican lawmakers. The asymmetry is staggering. Trump knows it, and he seeks to profit off it. He just doesn't care. Got some other clips to play. There's just so many. In this one, Trump has asked a sycophantic question about whether or not he's going to probe the 2020 election results. He already publicly ordered the DOJ to begin an investigation, but this is effectively a follow-up.
Election, is there any more information on the special prosecutor? So many Americans still have questions about the 2020 election. And speaking of rogue judges, would you consider appointing somebody at DOJ maybe to investigate the judges that allowed for the political persecution of you, your family, and your supporters during the Biden administration?
I love you. Who are you?
I'm Carol from Lindell TV.
Well, it's just a very nice question. And it's not a setup. I have no idea who you are, but I appreciate that question. All I can say is we're not here for that. I hope so. I hope they're doing a thing because that election was rigged and stolen, and we can't allow that to happen. A lot of people tell me, sir, you just won the greatest election in the history of our country. You won at numbers that won all 7 swing states, won the popular vote, won everything. Sir, go on with your life. And many people that say that, good people, friends of mine, then you have people that say that same thing, go on with your life, but you have to find out what happened because you can't let that happen again. Look at what...
There you have it. So again, he is still relitigating an election that he lost. And by the way, also note, we've gotten to a point where pretty much nobody fact checks him on this anymore. Not Fox, who had to pay $787 million in the single biggest defamation settlement in American history. Not CNN, not other networks as well. They just let it go. They take it for granted. That is the sort of asymmetry and we become desensitized to Trump in this way where we just stop. We're like, yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter. It does matter. It does matter because the Republican Party will never again accept an election that they lost fair and square. Another asymmetry between them and the Democratic Party. That is where we are. So there you have it. Donald Trump once again threatening to violate his own ceasefire and initiate military strikes against Iran because he's pissed off that the Ayatollah was talking shit, which, again, pretty pathetic of the Ayatollah to do so, number one. Number two, Trump is indicating that he has no interest in, ending the corruption of his BS meme coin. And then number three, he wants to renew investigations into the 2020 election because he can't deal with the fact that he lost fair and square to Joe Biden. That's where we are. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.